Sit down. I already poured your drink. You look different tonight. Thinner. No, that's not it. You look like someone who's been standing for a very long time and only just sat down. Like the muscles forgot what a chair is for. You went to Japan, didn't you? I can smell the rail dust, the pressed fabric, the silence. Tell me what you found on the train.
I didn't go looking for this one. I want to say that up front because every other story I've brought in here, I chased. I traveled, I dug, I found the thing nobody noticed. This time, the thing found me. Or maybe it's more accurate to say I walked into it and didn't walk out again. Not entirely. I was in Tokyo. 3 months on a magazine assignment, an essay about urban isolation, the way 10 million people share a city and manage not to see each other. Ironic looking back. I was writing about invisibility, and I got what I asked for. They warn you about the trains. Not the danger. Tokyo trains are the safest, most punctual transit system on Earth. They warn you about the crowding, the white-glove staff who push commuters in so the doors can close, the human density that sounds like comedy when you read about it from another country. What nobody warns you about, what you can't photograph, can't capture on video, can't explain to someone who hasn't stood inside it, is the silence. You would expect a crowd that dense to roar. Hundreds of bodies packed past the threshold of personal space, faces inches apart, and there is no sound, no conversation, no phone calls. It's considered rude. Just the rails, the recorded announcements, the chime at each station, and around you a few hundred people standing so close you can feel the heat coming off their coats. All of them silent, all of them looking at nothing. Eyes on phones, or closed, or fixed on a point in the middle distance that doesn't exist. Nobody looks at anybody. There's a choreography the body learns before the mind agrees. You turn sideways at the doors so your shoulders take less room. You hold your bag against your chest, both arms around it, because there is nowhere else for it to go. And you find that you no longer need to hold anything to stay upright. The crowd holds you, 100 warm strangers bracing you from every side, so that when the train breaks, the whole car leans as one creature and rights itself as one creature. Not a single person stumbles. No one speaks. And the train carries the whole silent mass of you under the city, on time, to the second. I rode the Chuo line Nakano to Shinjuku and a transfer every weekday morning. Somewhere in the second month, I noticed that some of the people were not commuting. I want to be precise about how I noticed, because precision is all I had left that felt like mine. It started with a face. A man, 50s, gray coat, a brown leather bag held against his chest. Saw him Monday, thought nothing. Saw him Tuesday in the same car, same spot, the corner by the third door, his back to the partition. By Friday I understood I had seen him every morning in that exact square meter, and that this was statistically absurd. Tokyo's trains carry millions. You do not see the same stranger 5 days running in the same spot, unless something is arranging it. Once I'd learned his face, I learned the others around him. A woman in a navy raincoat, an old man holding a folded newspaper he never unfolded. A young woman with earbuds whose cord ran to nothing. It ended in her closed fist. They were always there. The same dozen, in the same corner of the same car, every single morning. And they never got off.
A dozen? That's a very specific number to be sure of.
I tested it, the way you test a thing you don't want to be true. One morning I didn't transfer at Shinjuku. I stayed on, past my stop, past the next, riding the Chuo line out to the end and back. Watching the corner. The car emptied and refilled at every station. Commuters cycling through, a fresh crowd swallowing the old. But the dozen stayed. People pressed in around them and were carried off again. And the dozen did not move, did not sway with the train the way the rest of us brace and lean, did not open their eyes at the station names, did not react to the chime or the doors or the announcement that this was the final stop. All change, please. The train reached the terminus. Everyone got off. They didn't. The train reversed, went back the other way, and they faced the new direction without having turned. I rode with them for 3 hours that morning, out to the end and back again. The light changed at the windows, the crowds thinned from crush to scatter and thickened again toward midday. And the dozen did not eat, did not check a phone, did not shift their weight from one foot to the other the way a living body must. The old man's newspaper stayed folded. The earbud cord stayed in the girl's closed fist. At one point, an elderly woman, a real commuter, ordinary, tired, sat in the priority seat directly in front of the man in the gray coat and looked up at him, and her face did a small thing, a flicker, a question, the look of someone who senses that something is wrong and cannot name it. Then she looked away, got off 2 stops later, and shook it off. The way we all shake it off. The not reacting was the part that got into me. It wasn't that they were asleep, or sick, or vacant. A sleeping man reacts, twitches, slumps, wakes at a stop by some animal clock. These people did not react because reacting was not a thing they did anymore. The world arrived at them, sound, motion, the press of strangers, the announcements naming station after station, and it simply did not land. They stood in the full noise of the morning rush like stones in a river, and the river went around them, and they did not know the river was there. I began testing the limits of it, small, cowardly experiments. I let my wet umbrella rest against the gray-coated man's leg. Nothing. I stood on the navy raincoat woman's foot for an entire stop, my whole weight, the kind of contact that in Japan demands an instant bow and apology. She did not shift the foot. I held my phone screen bright and close to the old man's newspaper, and the sudden light did not move his eyes. They were not enduring these things politely. Endurance is a response. There was no response. The input reached them and found no one home to receive it, and fell away, the way a letter falls through the slot of a house where no one has lived for years. One morning I did something I can't undo. I was wedged beside the man in the gray coat, close enough to smell the cold cloth of him. I said quietly, in careful textbook Japanese, "Excuse me, are you all right?" Nothing. So I touched his shoulder. He opened his eyes. Slowly, the way a thing opens that hasn't needed to in a long time. And he turned his head, and he looked at me. And I have to tell you that there was nobody behind the eyes. Not blankness, not the dullness of exhaustion or illness. The eyes moved to my face and tried, visibly tried, to focus on me the way you try to focus on something too close or too far, and could not. He was looking at the place a person should be and finding the spot empty. He held it for a moment, that failed effort to see me, and then his face let go of it, and his eyes closed again, and he was a stone in the river once more. He had not been ignoring me, he had not been able to find me. To him, I was the thing that did not land.
And you kept writing.
I kept writing, and I kept watching, and I didn't decide this, it crept up under me, to stand the way they stood. I saw one of them begin, once. A salaryman, my age, ordinary, who I'd noticed only because he rode my car for a week looking like everyone, bracing at curves, thumbing his phone, glancing at station signs. Then one morning, he didn't get off where he'd always gotten off. I saw the small jolt, the glance back at the closing doors, the decision face of a man telling himself the next stop is fine. He rode on. Next morning, quieter. Within 2 weeks, his phone had gone dark in his hand and stayed dark. He drifted, without seeming to walk, toward the corner. He stopped reading the station signs, and the last morning I noticed him as himself. He was standing with his back to the partition, eyes closed, and the train was leaning him gently side to side, and he was letting it. After that, he was just one of the dozen. There were 13 now. I did not let myself count again. Here's what I think happened. Set down plainly, while I can still set anything down plainly. The dozen were commuters once. They had jobs and stops and reasons, like me, like the millions pouring through Shinjuku every morning. And one ordinary day, for no reason anyone could name, one of them missed their stop. Stayed on a moment too long, lost in a phone or a thought, and the doors closed. And they thought, I'll get off at the next one. Then they didn't. And the next. The city kept carrying them the way it's built to carry, frictionless and silent and exactly on time. And the longer they were carried, the less it mattered where they had been going, until the going was the only thing left and the destination had dissolved out from under them entirely. They are not dead, I want to be clear. This is not a story about ghosts. They are people who stopped getting off. The city didn't take them anywhere. It simply never let them arrive. And they stopped minding. And once you stop minding, there is no station that is yours anymore. And it is catching, not a disease, a current. To stand in that silence every morning, pressed among hundreds who do not speak and do not look and do not react, is to be slowly taught that speaking and looking and reacting are things you do not have to do. The crowd does not pull you under. It simply, patiently, by example, shows you how still a person can be, until one morning you realize you've stopped bracing against the sway and started letting the train move you, stopped reading the station names, stopped feeling the press of a stranger's shoulder against yours as anything that requires a response. I noticed 3 weeks before I left, that no one noticed me anymore. When I arrived, I was conspicuous, foreign, a head taller, the thing eyes slide toward and away from. But by then, they didn't slide toward me at all. I did not register. I had become, to the morning crowd, the same not quite there that the dozen in the corner were to me. I had stopped being seen. I had become the crowd. The last person who really saw me, eyes catching and holding, was a child, riding with her mother, too young to have learned not to look. She stared at me with the frank attention of the very small, and I felt it like sun on skin you'd forgotten you had. I almost wept, right there in the silent car, because I understood it was the last of something. Her mother turned her gently around by the shoulders. Children learn fast here. They learn not to look. It is the first thing the crowd teaches. The child was already learning it, and when she got off, she did not look back. I hadn't gone to the magazine office in 11 days. I knew this the way you know a fact about someone else. I got on at Nakano every morning out of a habit my body kept after the reason had gone, and I didn't transfer at Shinjuku, and the day went by in stations, and the chime sounded, and the doors open and closed, and none of it was addressed to me. And then, one morning, someone touched my shoulder, a young man, foreign, a head taller than the crowd. His face open and anxious in a way I recognized from a great distance, like a word in a language I used to speak. He had a bag held against his chest. He said, in careful, frightened, textbook Japanese, "Excuse me, are you all right?" I opened my eyes, I turned my head, and I tried to focus on his face. I tried to find the name of the station where I'm supposed to get off, the one that used to be mine, the reason I first stepped onto this train. I reached for it the way you reach in the dark for a wall you are certain is there. There was no wall.
But you closed your eyes again, and then you opened them here.
I don't know how I got off the train. I don't remember leaving the station or walking to this bar or sitting down. I just know that somewhere between closing my eyes and opening them again, I was here. And you'd already poured my drink. I keep thinking about the young man who touched my shoulder. His face, the openness, the concern, the way he looked at me the way a person looks at another person. He could see me. He could still see people. I wonder how long that lasts. Because he'll ride tomorrow morning, and the morning after, and the dozen will be there in the corner, and the silence will be there, patient and warm and perfectly on time. And one morning he won't transfer at Shinjuku, and he'll tell himself, the next stop is fine.
Absorption, that's the word that stays with me, not violence, not malice. Just a system so efficient, so silent, so perfectly designed to carry that it forgets to let you off, and you forget to mind. There are crowds everywhere, you know, not just on trains. The ones that move through offices, through feeds, through the gentle scroll of days that look the same. The ones that hold you upright so you never have to balance on your own. The ones that teach you patiently by example how still a person can be. When was the last time someone really looked at you and you looked back? I'll be here. I always am.